Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for March 2022. Okay, so we have a full moon in Virgo taking place on Friday, March 18th. It's going to be at its peak energy at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is taking place at 27 degrees. You may notice that the last couple of full moons that we've been having have been at these later degrees, and as we've been discussing, this is about endings, this is about closures, this is about cleansings, and of course, this being the very last full moon in the old energetic and astrological calendar, we are definitely slamming on the door on a couple of issues, topics, themes, life lessons that began about 2.5, 3 years ago. This is a pretty interesting full moon for a couple of reasons. First of all, again, we are still in this very small window of opportunity where all planets are direct, all planets are moving forward. This is encouraging us to see the very dramatic changes in our physical realm, to see the emotional and mental changes taking place within us. And of course, we are under the equinox energy for this full moon in Virgo as well, which is going to be a little bit interesting because of course we're feeling the push, we're feeling the squeeze, we're feeling just beat down and broken, all for good reason. Of course, we have to kind of have those endings, have that shattered ego death, if you will, before entering into a brand new cycle. So this Virgo energy is super interesting because it is an earth energy, so it is very connected to the physical body, to our physical realm, to the circumstances, the life lessons, the tough go that we've been having in our lives. And it is actually ruled over by Mercury, so ruler of the mental plane, but channeling all of that energy, what it is that we're focused on, our inner narrative gets channeled through our physical body. We can root it in our physical form. We can manifest because of Virgo's earth energy. So it is a little bit interesting because, of course, the full moon needs to be in Virgo because the sun is in Pisces. These two go against one another. Piscean energy is metaphysical. It is spiritual. It is soul, self, intuition, dreams, creativity, vision, feels. And of course, the Virgo energy is all about analyzing the physical form, our tasks, our chores. It's where structures and details are needed. And it's very much focused on this physical realm. So there is a direct opposition there. And basically, what we need to be balancing is logic and practicality versus our dreams, our feelings. We have to recognize where it is that we've been feeling hella extreme, hella chaotic, damaged, broken, and recognizing where it is that in our mental plane, we've actually been creating that narrative to block us from taking action. So this Virgo energy is about what it is that we're doing in our physical realm to support our health and wellness, our day-to-day tasks, our routines, to kind of support our work, our habits, our mental state, our overall well-being here in this physical realm, and where it is that we need to be a little bit more balanced with allowing our spiritual practice to kind of show us what it is that we need to do in our physical realms. We've been overwhelmed with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our memories, with our dreams. We don't know what to do with them. This is very much the irrational part of the Piscean energy versus the a little bit almost too rational part of this Virgo energy. And at this point, our emotions are busting at the seams. We do have to kind of release the want, need, and desire to control everything. There is a certain amount of chaos that is needed in our lives in order to kind of find that clarity. And of course, this Virgo energy wants to clean up the mess. It wants to reorganize. It wants to restructure. It wants to implement new routines, new practices, new disciplines in order for us to stay afloat. And of course, that sun being in Pisces is a water energy. We are kind of drowning essentially. And this Virgo energy is helping us to kind of tread this water, to keep our heads above water and to recognize where it is that we have to balance the realness of our current circumstances and reality versus the dreams, the visions that we're now kind of intuitively being pulled to take action on. So there is quite an ebb and flow going on with this particular energy. It can feel like a tug of war. It is supposed to feel like a tug of war. We have a lot of energy building up, especially seeing that we're purging the old calendar. We're about to jump into a new calendar. The equinox energy hits that button, resets us. And of course, we're moving into Aries season, which gives us a little bit of life back. And we've been lacking fire in the cosmos for a very long time. And it's time for us to renew ourselves, renew our faith, renew our confidence, renew our excitement and adventure that we, have definitely lost over the comings and goings of the last little bit. And of course, moving into Aries season, we are going to be very headstrong, cutting the cord from some of the things that have been blocking us from taking action and making our dreams come true. And of course, just putting our head down and doing what we have to do to dig deep and to push ourselves forward. So there's a couple of interesting things happening in this particular moon energy. You'll kind of discover this as you move through the moon guide. There is a very interesting aspect taking place in this chart. It creates what looks to be like a kite. And in astrology, anytime that we see this kite, we have to understand that this is almost like a fated event. This is where we're kind of struggling to understand where things are out of our control. Things are divinely scripted to happen to us. We do have a very small element of free will that we can kind of apply to these situations. But overall, it's trusting the greater, grander plan. It is this kite energy kind of shows us where the energy needs to travel. And right now it's indicating that we need to travel into a brand new foundation, a brand new reality. We've enlightened ourselves. We've seen the tough love life lessons. We've had an opportunity to digest that spiritually. And now we're able to transform our emotions, our psyche, to get in alignment. And of course, when those are in alignment and it's backed with a soul purpose, a soul activation, that's when we can go ahead and actually take action in our physical realms to bring some of these foundations, these new routines, this new structure into our physical realities. The other thing that's super interesting about this particular full moon is that it's actually creating what we called a grand trine. It kind of looks like a triangle taking place in the cosmos. And this is actually a grand earth trine because it is taking place among the moon, which is in Virgo. So that's an earth sign. Pluto, who is the great transformer. He's in Capricorn, so that's an earth sign. And the true node, our destiny point, which of course is in Taurus, the other earth sign. So what this is kind of suggesting is that this is a divinely scripted time in our calendar, in our timelines, where we're able to make some dramatic and drastic situations, transformative situations, first in our heart space, then in our head space, and then of course seeing the circumstances of our physical realities change as well. So this is a very powerful time where we're never going to be the same after this. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing. We have to accept the bad situations that are happening to us as part of the plan, and understanding that, of course, the good doesn't exist without the bad. The light doesn't exist without the dark. And of course, this leads to a spiritual enlightenment on the reason why we're here, having to go through pains and struggles in order to learn the lesson, taking that wisdom into the next set of life lessons, soul contracts, and chapters. So yeah, there's a lot of decisions going on. We're not really at the time to make decisions, but there's a lot of details that have been hidden from us. And of course, Virgo energy, that full moon is illuminating these hidden details, because Virgo is all about analyzing the details right to death. And of course, we're overwhelmed in our mental plane. Mercury, of course, Virgo's ruler is in Pisces, which isn't making for a lot of clarity, a lot of clear thoughts, but it is helping us to see where it is that new dreams and ideas and inspirations are coming in for us to work with. And now this Virgo energy is going to help us put together a practical, logical, calculated, strategic kind of plan on how it is that we're actually going to move forward. So at this particular point, we are kind of reflecting over this past year. We're trying to rest the body because, of course, the CMEs, the solar flares coming in, have created quite a stir in the ascension symptoms. This is a time of rest, reflection, realization, as we are being prepared to move into a brand new calendar, and things are going to pick up very, very quickly, move forward super, super fast. And right now, we're kind of stuck in a place because our heart wants what our heads don't think we're able to accomplish, or don't think what is possible. And of course, the sun being in Pisces is all about, pushing ourselves past the logical mental plane and seeing, of course, that anything is possible. There's infinite possibilities as long as you're able to hold that vision and manifest that reality through raising your vibration and frequency. But of course, that Virgo energy is so practical, so down to earth, so kind of stuck in this 3D realm that we're just not seeing how it is that we can create the kind of vision, the kind of life, the kind of reality out of the circumstances, over the details and the data that were currently being presented. So it is a little bit of a tug of war. You'll notice as you move through the moon guide as well that this is equal between earth and water. And of course, earth is the physical plane. Water is our emotions, our karma. And having an equal ground, they've definitely been transforming one another. So oftentimes when we see too much water upon the earth, it will corrode and erode the earth away, chipping away out its form and weakening the stability in the foundations and the relationships and the money matters and the current circumstances of reality. And of course, when there's too much earth applied to that water, our emotions get very muddy, things get dark, things get thick. It's very dirty situation. So having them kind of equal out right now, we're definitely seeing where it is that we're being cleansed with endings and closures in our emotional field in order for us to accept some dramatic shifts and changes in our physical realities. And of course, having it be supported by air, we are definitely going through the mental processing right now in order to accept the changes that are being thrown at us that, of course, are out of our control. So we have some very positive aspects taking place. There are some very strong sextiles going on. We have Pluto in the mix. We have the true node in the mix. We have Uranus and Jupiter and Neptune in the mix. And basically all of these planets are in Capricorn, Aquarian, and Piscean energy, other than the true node that, of course, is trying to show us where it is that new foundations need to be built in our routines, in our relationships, and in our money matters. But the rest of the planets being in the latter part of the zodiac wheel is about endings. It is about karma. It is about kind of piecing the situations of our past together to see where it is that we're being stripped away of all of that energy in order for us to start new. The negative aspects that we have working for us, of course, are not working against us. They're working for us. It might not feel like that, but we are kind of being pressurized right now where many of us don't want to change. Many of us dream and have prayers of seeing, some situations unfold, but we're not really willing to do what it is required of us in order to create a space for those changes to happen. So we're feeling kind of pressurized right now. We are kind of being pushed into new roles, new responsibilities, new situations that we would rather not be in. But of course, these are all divinely scripted events that will kind of benefit us later. It's just an adjustment period that we're not quite comfortable with as of right now. So hopefully, as you move throughout the moon guide, you will identify with the shadow work that needs to be done at this point, with recognizing where the emotions have been a little bit overwhelming, where the karmic situations are rearing their ugly heads, and of course having the spiritual wisdom to kind of see that everything is happening for us, not against us. It's just a hard pill to swallow at this particular time.